Hi everyone, delonewolf here and welcome to the Sunday recap, my weekly vlog where I talk a little bit about my last week in games, and of course the major game that I've played is EVE Online. Since the Ascension expansion came out, there was a lot for me to do, and I've slowly been getting everything ready. So first, of course, I bought all the blueprints that I wanted to buy, around 7 billion worth at the moment. It was a Raitaru blueprint and then a blueprint for the 3 new services. So we've got 2 labs and then the production facility that you can use in high sec for everything except capitals and super capitals, basically. Now, making a copy for the Raitaru takes more than 2 days. That was a little bit longer than I expected. On CC I only needed 12 hours, and I'm not willing to just move a 4 billion ISK blueprint original. So first thing that I started was a copy job, but since that took longer than I expected, I only got one after 2 days. I moved that one, started the production job, and that took more than 3 days. So that means that it's only going to be early next week that the first engineering complex is actually going to go up. But yeah, the labs are ready as well. So the first one is going to be a research center. Hopefully I can get everything to work. And the next phase after that is of course going to be building up the second one for production and then getting some rigs to improve both of those aspects inside the engineering complexes. I also refit my Orca. People were not all too happy with me going straight HP, and they were right. Putting resists in, which is something that I've done, greatly increases my HP. So I've got a better Orca fit when it comes to the tanking. I still think that the 3 rigs for improving your mining drones is worth it, because the Orca is much bigger than something like a Machina or a Retriever, so it's gonna take more effort to gank anyways. And well, if they want to gank you, they will be able to, pretty much regardless of what you do. So I think just because all your mining comes from the drones, that it's worth it to go 100% drone rigs in there. The next steps for the Orca are getting augmented drones and skilling everything up, because I still need to get mining foreman to 5 and then augmented mining drones to 5 as well. But it's advanced drone mining, I think, is the skill. So that's still a little bit of work. That's probably almost 2 months of training time as well. So that's still going to take a little bit of time. But I also did a few checks for the augmented mining drones. They're still going for more than 200 million ISK, which I think is still a little bit too expensive. Although I do understand that they will probably remain quite expensive for quite a while. At some point I'll just have to pull the trigger and buy those mining drones. But the first phase is get my my research up and running, so that I can get back into making copies, because that's actually making me a decent amount of money, and doing some side research. I bought a few more blueprint originals, pretty small ones, but that's going to be tied to the new alpha account that I started. So I made an alpha account, actually a pretty easy process. Just create account. You can use the same email as your main account if you're at the same stage as I am, and then just log in on the client with your new account settings. I started an alpha character. It's going to be an Amar that's going to focus on faction warfare, and so you can imagine that the blueprint originals that I bought are basically based on trying to make ships and fittings for my Amar character. So Amar frigates, weapons, the munitions, so the crystals, and then some of the modules that could create some doable frigate fits. And that's basically how I want to sponsor my my faction warfare character. We'll see if I enjoy it. I think it could be cool, and we'll see how exactly I'm going to work all of that out in one go. And a final thing did happen as well. I managed to somehow avenge my Machina, not on Test Alliance but on another miner. So there was actually a Retriever that went suspect. He must have stolen some stuff, and at first I just noticed in local that there was someone that had stolen and he was in a suspect tag. So I jumped into the Stradios, started looking for him in the asteroids belts, because there were a lot of people there, including some newer people, and I was expecting if something had happened there, it's probably going to happen inside the belt. And on the second to last belt in the Dal, there he was, just happily mining away in a Retriever, being a suspect, which is a pretty major mistake. So my my brother was there as well. We moved in and we actually destroyed his retriever. Turns out he's a Russian that was only playing for a few months, so I can imagine that he was pretty unhappy about that. But I also got that little bit of a vibe from back from when I first started mining and lost my Hulk. I'd just been able to buy it. I lost my Hulk, not because I went suspect, but because I attacked a suspect character. And so I had this bad feeling that, well, maybe it's really not the right time for him to lose the retriever. So we ended up reimbursing his loss, but hopefully it'll be a good lesson for him that when you decide to steal something, even if it was probably like 3 metal scraps or something like that, considering the kill mail that we saw. But when you go suspect, don't just stay out in the open, go to a safe spot or duck up somewhere, because there will be people watching local channel. They will find you and then they will destroy you. Anyways, that was pretty much my EVE experience so far. And next up we've got some Elder Scrolls Online. I'm not doing a video a week anymore. Growing the library of videos that I've got ready at 7 videos a week is not really the best idea at the moment. I should pace myself. I think I'm doing a decent job of that. Probably 2 to 3 videos a week is what I'm doing at the moment. I'm still following a single quest line, which is pretty amazing considering that I've got like 30 episodes out of that already. And right now we've basically done a whole tour of the Dominion. First you start with some High Elves, I think it is, then you go to the Wood Elves, and now we're actually helping out the Khajiit with a problem as well. So they're pretty amazing quests. Actually, I think the structure is pretty nice, so none of them feel very grindy or anything like that. It's more about the story, discovering the new locations, doing objectives that are decently logical, not like gather 10 wolf paws or anything like that. It makes a lot more sense and it makes for a pretty smooth progression. I'm also now in a different zone again, which is probably a bit more high level, although you don't notice that yourself because of course you are scaled up to the level requirements. The enemies are a bit more colorful. They have different abilities, a bit more flashy spells, things like that. It adds to the atmosphere, and from time to time, right, you encounter another player, another adventurer out there that is on the same quest line as you, and that makes for actually a surprisingly good experience. I've always been able to incorporate that in the story, in what I've been doing, and so far that's really not detracted me. Nobody's going to all of a sudden start dancing in front of you. Most of them are actually playing the game as you are, and so you end up going for like a boss character together, and then it's just like, well, it's not just one adventure, there were 2 adventurers there and they smacked that boss down without too much trouble. So I'm definitely still enjoying the game, and I highly recommend it. The more I play this, the more I can see myself keep playing the Elder Scrolls Online, not as an MMO, but as an Elder Scrolls game where I enjoy the stories, enjoy the quests, play through that. And so again, if you see this game on sale, especially the winter sale shouldn't be all that long anymore, then honestly I think it's worth it if you like the Elder Scrolls settings and if you're not looking for that grindy MMO experience, because that's definitely something that you could do if you want to go and start grinding in the Elder Scrolls Online. You can do that, but if you want a different experience and you're willing to forego the MMO aspects, then the ESO is actually a great buy, because the sheer amount of content that is in there, I must have passed up hundreds of quests by now. It's completely crazy. I'm probably 20 hours in or something like that, and I've only done a single starting quest line that concerns the Dominion, which to me is pretty crazy. And I'm actually a little bit afraid to jump into other quests for the reason that if I do, I'm a bit afraid that it's gonna be another major quest chain that is going to take me hours and hours to do, which is why I'm focusing on a single quest chain at the moment, just following that through, seeing where that'll take me. Next step is probably going to be the main quest, which is something that I've not even touched. 0 parts done in the main quest, and after that we'll just explore more of the world, which I think is going to net me maybe hundreds of hours of gameplay in the Elder Scrolls Online. Absolutely awesome game in my opinion. And finally we've got a little bit of Overwatch, so I jumped in just a few quick plays early on in the week, but I also noticed that Sombra is out, so a new hero, there's a new map, there's new game modes. So Blizzard has been working very hard on getting us more content and more stuff to do in Overwatch. So far it looks pretty good, although I've only jumped into a few quick plays and I've yet to play Sombra herself. I think in next week, well, if EVE Online doesn't take too much time, it might take too much time, but in the next few weeks I'm definitely going to try to play Sombra a little bit, find out what her character is like after the hype has died down. I've seen a couple of discussions when people took Sombra that someone else wanted to take her, and then they felt like it would be pretty bad for the comp to go with two Sombras. So there was some discussion back and forth there. So I'll wait 1 or 2 weeks until the hype has died down, and then I'll try her myself. But it's still fun, it's so extremely polished, right? You can just jump into a game, play for 15 minutes, play for 30 minutes, enjoy Overwatch, get back out. And you'll probably need to do this for a couple of days in a row just to find out about the new hero, to find out about the new map, maybe to explore the new game modes. But it's so very polished. It's still a fun game for me, and seeing all of that new content rolling out does mean that I can get more time out of Overwatch, more bang for my buck, as I like to put it, which to me personally is pretty important. I did buy Overwatch full price. And that means that, well, I'm expecting Blizzard to come up with enough content for me there. At first, right, it's a couple of maps, couple of game modes, one roster of characters, but you can see now that they've added maps, they're adding characters, they're adding more game modes, they're adding more and more to the game, and I'm enjoying it a lot, although in a pretty casual way, which I think is actually okay to do. You don't have to go hardcore into every game to enjoy it and to make your purchase worth it. And basically that's it. The rest has gone a little bit to the back burner because of all the time that I had to spend in EVE Online, but I look forward to doing more of that and to exploring more of the other games as well. So that's it for this Sunday recap, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.